Here we are in downtown Washington, D.C. Behind me, you can see the business district of D.C. It is an important city on the global stage. That's why it's called a secondary world city. Today, we're going to talk about cities and globalization. I'm Mr. Coulter, and this is Human Geography. As we continue Unit 6, we are moving on to globalization and world cities. This is topic 6.3 in our AP Human Geography curriculum. So we're going to talk about modern cities around the world. World cities. A high percentage of world's business is transacted and political power is concentrated in these cities we know as world cities. They are the headquarters of large businesses. They are the control centers for major media companies, and they have access to major political power. World cities play a major role in our globalized world. We see on this map of major cities that are population centers around the world the biggest cities. Tokyo is the biggest, with over 30 million people in the agglomerated area. New York, Mexico City, Seoul also stand out as these massive cities full of lots of people. Take a second and write down your prediction for what the three biggest world cities are. We have first big world cities, which are the big three, and then we have a second level of smaller world cities that we'll look at. Pause the video to try to make your guesses. Major world cities. We see that London, New York, and Tokyo are the big three world cities we think about. They are the places where media for parts of the world are centered. They are also where the largest stock exchanges exist and where a lot of businesses have their headquarters. There's a lot of money and political power found in these cities. We see that for New York is the big center of the Americas, London for Europe and a lot of Africa, and then Tokyo for Asia. There are a lot of secondary world cities as well, where we see other major businesses and cultural touchstones. Cities like Chicago, LA and DC in the United States, Brussels, Frankfurt, Paris and Zurich in Europe, Sao Paulo in South America, and Singapore and Hong Kong in Asia. These are all places where huge businesses have their headquarters and where we see a lot of the money that moves the world stay. We see that the largest metropolitan areas, or the biggest cities in the world, drive a lot of the world economy and political power. You can see a list of the most populated cities in 1975 next to a list from 2019. Take a moment and write down what changes you see occur in that gap of 45 years. Pause the video so that you can see the differences for yourself before we talk about them. One change we see is that Tokyo is almost doubled. We also see that even though New York has increased by about 4 million people, it has moved from second on the list of biggest cities all the way to 10th. Also, many of the developed cities around the world are on the list in 1975, but as we move to 2019, only 2 are found in what we think of as highly developed countries, where 8 are found in developing countries. The fastest growers seem to be coming from India. Sao Paulo moved up the list, while cities like Osaka, Los Angeles, and Paris disappeared from the top 10. The connection between these cities in a global economy and a globalized world in terms of culture is very powerful. We see that cities are connected globally by networks and linkages and mediate global processes. This is only possible because of our modern telecommunications. That makes it possible to connect all around the world. We see that people are able to do business meetings completely isolated in different parts. This is a zoom of all the different people around the world at a business. We also see that the shipping and infrastructure make goods able to be delivered anywhere within just a few days, and our supply chain from city to city around the world has made us more connected than ever, where products can make multiple journeys around the earth before arriving to us. This is possible by satellite technology, all of our tracking software, as well as the modern shipping container that we talked about in Unit 5 that allows things to be securely transported from train to boat, back to trains, onto 18-wheeler trucks, and then eventually into the store near you. So these inventions have made it so that we can be a truly connected and globalized world. The way our cities are connected in this globalized world allows us to function as a connecting point between big cities rather than just people in our communities. And we're going to explore the way that that's good for the world and also the consequences of having a world that's more defined by its big cities than its rural areas. That will be something we continue as we talk about Unit 6. But so far today, we talked about the biggest cities in the world, the way that they are connected, and then the three major world cities as well as the secondary world cities. But our three major world cities are Tokyo, London, and New York. Learning about the globalized world and cities is just one step into better understanding our world. I'm Mr. Coulter, and this is Human Geography.